It's time for the Mohney Show. High atop the third story of the historic Gibson House overlooking beautiful downtown Centralia. The star of the show, Steve Mohney.
Yes. Welcome to the very first Mohney Show online podcast. And we're doing this out of the Eli Sports Network's studio right here in downtown Centralia. Paul is with me. From time to time, you'll probably hear me call him simply Walker. Now, can you explain that?
Yes. You know, back in the day, Steve and I did a little radio show here locally, and my on-air name there was Paul Walker, and many folks around here still call me that, and that's okay. I go by another name on the Eli Sports side, and I don't want to correct you completely, but this is the Eli Network Studios.
Right.
Eli Sports was here first, but now we're expanding that to the Eli Network, and our first show on the Eli Network is the Mohney Show. We couldn't be more excited or more proud to have the big fella back behind the microphone where he belongs, my friend.
Hey, it's good to connect with the folks of Lewis County, Washington here. And the purpose of the show, the vision of the show is going to be local. We're going to talk about local things. I mean, what's going on behind Yardbirds? You know, You've got a lot of construction going on. There's all kinds of different things and businesses going on around the area. And I want to keep it positive. We don't need to dwell on lots of the negative stuff. There's enough of that going around. And we'd like to feature local businesses as well.
Local businesses, local people that are doing good things, that are working hard. Put a focus on that. And again, Lewis County, the Twin City areas, and Southwest Washington, because we all know this area. Everything we talk about is going to be very familiar.
Yeah, it'll be familiar. And the kids back in school, we want to talk about what they're doing in school, what's going on in the high schools, of course, with the sports segment, and we'll talk about that here in a few minutes. That's a huge deal. But like, WF West putting on their theater presentations and Centralia doing their thing. I mean, just the tip of the iceberg. But that's, what we want to cover with the broadcast. And like I said, you're on the sports side of things with all the sports that the Eli Sports Network does. Tell us about that and also how it got started.
Well, going back a few years now Eli Sports is entering its 13th season.
Wow.
13th year. When I split from radio back in 2011, I knew one thing. I did know one thing. I'd done news for quite some time.
Right.
I didn't want to do news anymore. It is something, and especially now, I absolutely despise how news is presented now. It's an embarrassment to journalism, in my view. But
we think we might know the story, so we'll just tell you what we have.
Exactly. Someone that won't tell us their name told us this, and then I talked to Ted about it. And,
Ted knows too.
Ted knows. So, but I can tell you, not doing news was number one. And so what I wanted to do, what I really enjoyed doing was high school sports. It is, there can be negative things in that, but the positives are so far just outlandishly one-sided there. And
absolutely.
It's such a fun thing to be able to go and watch and do. So the original idea was just scores, standings, and schedules. And we focused on that. We started with just a free little audio broadcast back then. Had no idea the first couple of broadcasts, I think, got on, but we're not sure. We might have had 2 listeners or something like that. But we kept chugging along, and about year 6 or 7, we were asked to help out with what's called the NFHS network. That's the National Federation of High Schools, and they're the ones that do all the live streaming that the WIA does. And from there, I saw an opportunity that, the one thing I wanted to do online, and I know a lot of folks our age, and we're on the other side of 50.
Absolutely.
don't understand or didn't really understand internet or being online and how this whole thing was going to work. I never did understand. I never understood in radio why you could hear us in the car. I still don't understand
I don't
that
either. It's like
technology. I don't get it. I know what button to press and that's it.
you turn that on and something comes through the speaker.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's all I knew. And then with this stuff, pretty much the same. It's even worse now.
Yeah.
I really don't know how anything works. Matthew, our producer, and
he's shaking his head.
is absolutely on board with that. But I know what I want. I know what the product and the what is needed. So as I describe it to folks, my age and who are going, what do we do? I go, look, the product is still wanted. People still want information, whether it be high school sports or local news or what have you. The delivery system is changing.
It's changed. Yeah, it's changing.
And it's changing rapidly. And some good and some for the bad, as we know. So the whole vision of Eli Sports was to focus on high school sports. We've now taken that and spread it out. We're covering other sports. Matthew, our producer, covers the Mariners on a regular basis. We now have upwards of 80 to 90 different folks that work with Eli Sports all over the state. Last year, we did well more than 1,300 live broadcasts.
Wow, that's a lot.
And we had about 750,000 unique device views. That doesn't tell us how many people are watching, but we know at least one person is behind each one of those. So
that's amazing.
I think it's fair to say we were over 1 million viewers.
Wow, that's really something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, explain for the folks, maybe like me. Let's be honest here. I'm no sports person here. I mean, I know what I know from growing up, but the WIAA.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
They're the organization that oversees high school state playoffs, and they're the ones that put in regulations and rules, and that's all the schools belong to the association. It's much like a chamber of commerce. Mm-hmm. Or even like a city where the cities actually work very much the same. Whereas you have a city manager who kind of runs the day-to-day stuff, and they have a staff that fulfills the wishes of the city council. There's not, and then the city council says, this is what we want to do. You guys go and do it. Same way the WIA works. WIA has a staff of 13 or 14 people. That's it. Mm-hmm. The board is made up of athletic directors and principals and other school representatives. And then they have a voting body of 50 or 60 folks that change the rules. So it's the members, that's each school that belongs to it, are the ones that are in charge. And then the staff of the WIA is the one that implements that for them.
And it's nice to be blessed by them.
Yes, absolutely. We work really well with them. And we've been able to cover a whole lot of sports. And in fact, we cover more sports and events than any other state in the country.
And not only with audio, but visual.
Visual. Yes,
that's the cool thing about this.
Exactly. And the fun thing is, Steve, Matthew's here, Tony, we have a lot of local guys, local folks that are calling games and working with us, including some Centralia College kids are jumping on as well. They're going to be jumping in when we have some exciting, maybe highlights, or as we get toward the playoffs to explain what's happening at the high school level. And even, Matthew, again, is a Mariners guy. As we get close to the playoffs, I think you'll probably have him in to talk about the Mariners' run in the postseason and things like that. So from a sports side of things here on the Mohney Show, we're going to have lots of little updates again. Again, this isn't a sports show. This is a show that you're going to cover a multitude of
different subjects. And that's what the cool thing about it is, endless guests. So we want to have people, sports side of it, the rock and roll side of it, the music side of it, the local area. Hey, what's going on? How's the new Winco project going? Stuff you drive by every day and go, I wonder what's going on there. We'll try to get to the bottom of it and have fun while we're doing it. Other subjects, as I put my glasses on, we're going to talk about pets.
Yeah.
Everybody
pets.
has pets and everybody loves their pets. I mean, I've got this big dog and he loves to, go after the soccer ball out in the front yard. And yesterday he's laying on the ball looking at me like, what's the deal? You going to play?
Yeah.
So we've all got pet stories. Our classic cars. Maybe
Yep.
you have one. Maybe you're interested. Maybe you don't care. We'll talk about that a little bit. Cooking.
Yep.
I hope to do some cooking in
Yeah.
the studio,
Okay.
especially as we get, towards the holiday season.
Yeah.
We're a little bit past barbecuing, but we might touch base on that as well.
Look, this show can also be mobile.
It can be mobile.
So I can't wait for next summer for the grilling segments that we'll go outside. We'll go to your place.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll just set up the barbecue and we'll just set up the show right there.
We were talking about Spam sandwiches with Velveeta. Now, you guys years ago up in Olympia did a remote broadcast from, what was it, Ralph's Thriftway.
Yes. KQ92, KQEU, AM 920 was the call letters of my very first radio station.
I think it's a gas station now.
It always was.
Okay.
Actually, I went up to the upstairs where the studios were.
Right.
Hasn't changed. No one's been up there since. It looked very eerie. But nonetheless, as we had an ongoing gag with a longtime broadcaster up in Olympia, Carl Cook. He was with KGY. Mm-hmm. And I think the original first commercial radio station in the state was KGY.
Yes.
And Carl worked for them for a long time, got mad at the administration there, left, and then ended up over at KQ92. And so he and I, he was the morning show, and I do sports in the morning with him. But we had an ongoing gag about Velveeta and Wonder Bread and Velveeta. And I would say, take some, white Wonder Bread,
right?
Little coat of Miracle Whip.
Ooh.
Lay in some Spam and Velveeta. Boom. You got yourself
Bang.
A meal right there. Ralph's Thriftway ends up calling. They get us a couple of cases of Spam and Velveeta. They set up some barbecues in front of Ralph's Thriftway at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Carl is
breakfast.
Grilling up Spam and Velveeta sandwiches, and Wonder Bread at the time had the little tiny loaves that they'd give out.
I've handed those out at parades before.
Parade things. Yeah, they gave us a whole bunch of those. People stopped by. I don't know how many we gave out. I don't know why.
That's a good meal.
It's not a good.
No, it's horrible. Awful. Your cholesterol count goes up substantially after just one.
But very tasty.
Oh, if you haven't tried one, try one. If you dare.
Yes, if you dare.
Other things, like summer came to an end, and what did you do all summer? That might be on the next show. Fall's here.
Yep.
You love fall because that means all kinds of football.
Yep.
And then your guys' football fantasy league.
Yeah. You stopped by our fantasy league, big to-do the other day.
Yeah, that was a real fun time. The food was fabulous.
Yep.
You had like about 12 people in the living room not saying a word, either on their phone or a computer.
Yes.
Trying to draft
our teams. And Steve was a huge, really vital.
Oh, I was vital.
Organization there.
Now, these enchiladas are great. These are fantastic.
And by the way, Tony, he's the one that did the enchiladas, and that's an annual tradition. And, he put on a good spread.
That was 12 hours of smoking pork.
Yes, it was. However, you have to admit, I was in charge of the desserts. And I think I hit a home run on this.
And I'm glad you brought that up because one of my next things I did want to talk about on the inaugural Mohney show was, I always thought it was Smucker's jam.
Yeah, it was.
Well, why does it say Smucker here? It says Smucker bets on Twinkies in the snack race.
I don't know.
Smucker's has purchased Hostess.
See, Smuckers. They misprinted that they left off the S in the first one.
I guess so. So the deal.
Smuckers has now. So it says someone else purchased Hostess.
Yeah.
And now they're selling it to Smuckers, is what you're telling me.
Yes. Okay, so the deal is jelly company J.M. Smucker announced yesterday that it is buying the purveyor of plastic-wrapped cakes Hostess brands for $5.6 billion with a B.
Wow.
That's a ton of Twinkies.
That is.
It's worth $2 billion over the market value, but they think that it's going to be worth it. The snack business is booming. It's up 11% last year, and that's way up over healthy foods. which okay, I just happen to have this too.
What this was actually from our draft day.
Yes, this is left over from the draft party now.
In fact, and the container, the little tub and everything.
But you can see that this is what we have here.
That's what I made for dessert.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, and good job.
Yeah,
These are my favorites. So you've got the Hostess cupcakes here.
Yes.
Hostess cupcakes. And is this one of your favorites?
That is one of my favorites. However, if you'd hand me one here.
Yeah, go ahead.
If you'll notice, it looks fine from this side.
Right.
But the disappointment is when you turn it, the cupcake used to be about this big.
It did.
And now, it's virtually bite-sized.
Well,
here.
look at this Twinkie here.
That pathetic thing
I mean, the Twinkie was roughly at least half a size bigger, wasn't it?
At least.
I've never been a real big fan of the Twinkie. It's not bad.
It's like a banana.
Yeah.
Every now and then you just want to have a banana.
Yeah.
Change of pace.
Then you throw it out and somebody slips on it. Okay, so what is this little apparatus?
That is the ho-ho.
That's the ho-ho.
Yes. Now we don't have a ding-dong. The ding-dong is about this size, but it's the one covered in foil.
I've got to tell you, I prefer the ding-dong over that.
I know, you said that. However, I got to go with the ho-ho because the cream is more equally distributed through the rolling of the ho-ho because they roll it.
Yeah, but it's
all spread out in there.
I mean,
you get an equal amount of cake, frosting, and filling in each bite of the ho-ho over the ding-dong where all the cream filling is right in the middle.
You know what I think happened here possibly, and I'm not blaming you. I think you bought the Costco pack and they're all reduced in size.
Oh, yeah. I did buy the Costco pack, but I did not that one. That is not the Costco pack. The ho-ho.
Oh, it's not.
It is not.
So
they're all small now.
So we've got.
Oh, yeah. Have you seen a Snickers?
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen the fun-size Snickers? You need a microscope to find it.
I think that's shrinkflation.
I think so, yeah.
So that's the
outrage.
That's the cupcake.
Yes.
Okay, so where do I get a damn ding-dong?
Well, I didn't get ding-dongs. I had a pie, but that was a friend's pie.
That's a friend's.
And they were on sale at Safeway.
Well, I'd rather see you go over to the Friend's bread store myself.
Oh, well, I was there.
There we go.
They were on sale.
So I had a Bob over there.
Those seem to be the hit of the party. I had 8 of those, and there's only one left.
Yeah, there's only, no, these pies are delish.
Yes.
Eat one of these, and then nap, and then call the doctor to check the, you know what? Everybody says, oh, watch your cholesterol if you're going to have these particular desserts. You know how much cholesterol is in one of these?
No idea.
None.
Oh, there you go.
Zero cholesterol. So there's 19 grams of fat, saturated fat, 9 grams. And there's, let's see here, total carbs, Paul. Take a guess. 65 grams.
Is that it? How many are you supposed to have?
That's like 5 Big Macs.
That's 5 Big Macs.
Something like that.
5 Big Macs. Well, okay. Of course,
no, that's 2 Big Macs. That's 2.
Big Mac looks like this now too, so who cares?
That's true. Anyway, so that's what's going on.
There. That was my dessert. I made that.
And here's a cool thing too. We're doing a contest over on the Eli Sports Network.
Yes. Which
we'll get to in just one second. But this could, out of this little barrel here, some of this stuff might end up being in the prize as well. Oh yeah. Hold on, Matthew, the producer. There we go. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Paul. Tell us about the contest.
The contest is it's. You remember in the old days when we used to get a newspaper delivered to us?
Oh yeah,
daily.
Right.
And then during the football season, they had guesser or pigskin picks or whatever. And you just filled it out and you mailed it into the newspaper.
Yeah.
Well, we're bringing that back.
Okay.
You don't have to mail anything in. We're going to mail stuff to you if you win. It's called Professor DW's Football Challenge. And all you have to do is go to the Eli Sports Network, elisportsnetwork.com.
There you go.
It's pretty easy. Click on contest, and the Professor DW contest page will come up. You fill it out. We need your name, email, and phone number. That's it.
There you go.
Because we got to contact you if you win. We do ask that you follow us on one of our social media platforms. That's a requirement. Facebook, Twitter, or X, whatever that is, nonsense is,
X.
or Instagram. Follow us on one of those. Fill it out. Now, the cool thing on this, Steve, is that Matthew, the producer, does multiple things for us.
He does.
And one of the things is he puts in all the games. And so, like this week, Seattle plays Detroit. You just click the button next to which team you think is going to win. You fill that all out. And then we have a tiebreaker. The tiebreaker is all the scores add up to one final.
Okay.
So, and we have the Price is Right rule. You like this. You can't go over in the tiebreaker. So we did have a tie in week number 1, a 4-way tie.
You got a 4-way tie.
4-way tie for first. And we had someone that guessed 432 points.
Right.
It was actually 617 or something like that. Someone guessed 690. They were closer, but they went over. They lose.
Can't go over.
The 430 won it, and that's how they won it. So what'd they win?
Here we go.
Here's what we got. This is I have a thing for $2 bills. I don't know why. I collect them, and I have some on hand because I think why I do it, Steve, is that I'll never spend them. I'll spend ones, I'll spend fives, I'll spend tens. I don't get anything more than that.
I've got a couple around the house, and I don't know why. They're not that rare.
Stack of 2s for the season, as you can see, and we're going to count off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So this next week,
there's the bread.
There's the bread right there next to Hostess. How about that?
Yep.
You could win
That's
12 $2 bills if you're the top picker, and it doesn't cost anything. It's free. Anyone can do it.
That's quite the prize.
1 entry per person, though. If you enter more than once, we're going to DQ you. So only 1 entry per person.
Okay.
And again, it's so easy. You just fill it out and send it in. And already in the mail to our first winner is 12 $2 bills. Now, the professor is our expert picker. And he puts out his picks as well. We do that. We display them before the games start. And by the way, only games on Sunday and Monday. The Thursday night games we don't do.
It doesn't matter.
We will for Thanksgiving. We'll change it up for that only. So we'll have a Wednesday night deadline. So the deadline is midnight on Saturdays.
Okay.
So you can get them in between now and midnight. Just send it in, click it. Again, you fill it out, and it just says enter. Click, boom, and you're done. It takes you 5 minutes.
So if you can win the money, you can win the crisp. Well, how crisp are they?
They're pretty crisp.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can win the $2 bills, but there's also a way you can win a Eli Sports Network T-shirt.
T-shirt or even a polo shirt, whatever you prefer. Different colors and things like that. But you got to beat Professor DW as well. So not only you have to be the top picker, but you got to beat our expert. And in week 1, didn't happen. Professor dominated. So no T-shirt.
No T-shirt.
But the cash went out.
The cash is in the mail too.
So the cash is on its way. It's already in the mail with a congratulations from the professor. And again, if you can beat the professor, then we'll get your size from you as well and get you a T-shirt.
It's good stuff.
Now, there is a second tournament. But the only way you can get into that second tournament is by winning one of the weekly contests. So there's up to 18 winners. You can win the weekly contest more than once.
Okay.
But you only get 1 entry into the postseason tournament. So max will have 18 competitors in the postseason. And basically, it's like filling out a Final Four March Madness where you have to fill out the whole bracket. And the rules are on there on the website. That'll tell you how to do that. But the only way to get into that, and the winner of that will get $100.
Whoa.
Plus $50 in prizes minimum. And in the rules specifically, we reserve the right to add prizes.
Yep.
To the package. So yeah, you might get this. You win the whole thing. You might get a container filled with Hostess.
Or if Matthew eats most of the Hostess, stuff here, you might get 1 or 2.
That's right.
Now
Yeah.
these are, I mean, we have shown you these delicious desserts, but they're fine to eat.
Yeah.
They're
Oh,
wrapped up.
absolutely.
They're store bought.
Yeah. Store bought.
Yeah.
Store bought. Yep. And so, Steve, that kind of wraps up kind of the sports side and the contest side. Look, like Steve said, there's going to be a lot of other things going on, even potentially some live remotes. But we were talking about businesses and organizations. One of the first things that we want to tell you about, our friend Melanie from Solid Waste, they got a big program coming on up here real soon, and we have that on the website already.
Yes.
And things like that. So tell us about that. First of all, is it a reuse fair?
It's the reuse fair. And what it is if you have a vacuum cleaner that doesn't work, if you have a toaster that doesn't work, if you have some mending on your clothes or a zipper that doesn't zip, and, various things like that, why toss that stuff in the garbage? Repurpose it, reuse it, and they will have folks, volunteers on hand to help with that and fix up these various things that you can bring in.
Absolutely. And look, I look at it this way, Steve, like everything. Look, we're not going to repurpose and fix everything.
No.
But look at the amount of stuff if you just do 5%. What if it just 10% is reused or repurposed or someone has another way of using it altogether?
One of the things, there's a lot of boxes, obviously, that get sent in the mail. I mean, it's just staggering how many boxes are coming in the mail these days. I grab some of the bigger boxes and I just, untape them and fold them up. I'm a car guy, so I keep these. So I keep these things and I'll throw them down on the ground if I have to get under a car.
Yeah.
I guess it's going to go in the recycler at some point, but I get a little bit of use out of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I know you can't fix anything.
No, I fix nothing.
You fix absolutely zero because you can't do it.
Nope.
So this would be, if you had, say, a blender.
Oh. Or, hey, how about a mixer that smokes? We had that at a game the other night.
Yeah.
And yes. Hey, yes, one like this right here.
Hey, Paul, I know there's probably nothing you can do about this, but the mixer's on fire.
Yes, they said, our mixer is smoking. And they asked me, have I ever seen this before? And I said, no, my mixer chews. So that was very helpful for them.
And when you told me the story, I thought, what the heck are they making cookies for at a ball game? I have no idea. So, no, that's going to be a good time. It's on, let's see here, September 23rd. This is off the top of my head right now. And it'll be at Centralia College. All the information is on the Eli Sports Network website.
Yep. You can go on there, and it's going to be on the Eli Network. The other thing we should mention, Steve, is that the Mohney Show is going to have his own web page, and all of this information is going to get tied into that. We're working on that right now. We've got great folks behind the scenes that are working on these things, putting them together. Also with us, all of our partners are going to have a page, so you'll probably see some. In fact, we know that the reuse fair has already been out on social media. We're putting it out on our Facebook and Twitter and getting it out there right now. So just click on that. It's going to take you right to the great flyer that they put together there and have all that information.
And thanks again to our first sponsors, Laura Lee from John L. Scott in Centralia and Dave Wilson from all the different Napa stores around. And we'll have those folks in to talk about some of these things as well, if they agree.
If they agree.
Not everybody wants to be on TV.
Well, I tell you, but there's a lot of great information. And that's what we want to do. You talked about going back to school. And we still might. We got to get a hold of. We were thinking that Mr. Gilmore would be a great guy.
Yes, absolutely.
And talk, although a bit of a close talker, but that's one of his. That's one of his traits.
I'm thinking of a Seinfeld episode. I'm sorry. Right there, that's a Seinfeld episode. I mean, that's what you see. Was she a quiet talker or a close talker? Oh, he was a close talker.
A little bit of a close talker.
Yeah.
There.
So,
again, folks, I would say that there will be plenty of Seinfeld references in the Mohney Show.
Probably a lot of movie and also music references as well. So that's a lot of ground to cover, Paul.
Yes.
And it's the first one. I would imagine both of us will get a little bit more comfortable as we go along here. Being on the TV, well.
Being on the TV is where we are right now. That big picture that you're looking at.
We're not using that right there.
We're on the TV. I got Steve over here.
I'll tell you what, I can't believe we're up on the big screen here at the volleyball game.
See,
I don't know where I was at now.
He's not cutting any of it. He's just running this straight through.
Yeah, the producer says we're just going straight through on this. And I would like to also mention that we're not watching the clock here.
Right.
I mean, the only pauses will be, well, what are we going to talk about next here? Oh, that's right, I had that. And occasionally I'll say some jackass phrase that'll get him rolling. So
that's right. Exactly.
We don't have to worry about things.
We don't. We're under no obligation from the federal government. The FCC has no oversight over podcasts.
I don't want your kids not to be able to watch, but
every now and then there could be a slip, is what we're saying.
My grandkids would just go, "What's Papa doing? What the heck's he doing up there?"
Exactly. So, but I think this is going to be a lot of fun. There's going to be more segments. Again, we're going to have a chance to do some of those things that Steve has been wanting to do that has been limited because he was only allowed to talk for 45 seconds at a time for 30 years.
Grossly went over many times. Hey, he's been talking for 4 minutes, and does anybody know what he said? Well, no, we don't, because he doesn't have any idea what he said.
No, exactly.
There you go.
And hey,
that's a show right there.
Years, exactly. And that's somehow trudged through it. So we're going to do the same thing here. It's going to be a blast.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
I can't thank Steve enough for giving us a shot, giving us a chance, coming over here. I know you had your choice of places that you could go.
Somewhat.
But hopefully being able to do it your way, is going to be something that you're going to absolutely enjoy. And we couldn't be more
it's
happy to have you here.
Thank you.
With the Eli Network.
Absolutely. And thanks for, bringing me in. I would say that's going to, wrap it up.
All right.
For right now.
For episode number 1.
It's episode number 1 of the Mohney Show, and we're going to get a tricky graphic up at some point here.
Absolutely. And by the way, this is what we call dipping our toe in the pool.
Exactly.
That's all that this is.
And the graphic, by the way, designed by Matt Mohney.
Yes.
You might know him locally as Matt O'Day.
Yes.
He's,
again, another one that likes different names. And
he seems to have a lot of them. I contacted the radio station that he's at, and they didn't know who the hell I was talking about. I said, I'm his father. They said, oh, okay, that's him. Anyway, thank you very much. Thanks, Paul.
You got it.
And good day.